Hey everybody, this is the weekly forecast commencing on Monday, August the 12th, 2024. This is a week with a lot of readjusting, maybe jumping forwards too optimistically and then having to cut back. That's when I'll be talking about assertive Mars hitting expansive Jupiter, then the next day regretting it as you backpedal with Saturn. Later in the week, communication Mercury is in a square, a hard angle to Uranus. All these unexpected surprises with communication Mercury in retrograde, August the 4th through August the 28th. Mercury in retrograde can often, well, you've heard it all before, I'm sure. Misinformation, don't sign contracts because you're locking into something that could change. But Mercury has a lot to do with your expectations. And when it's retrograde, you might be disappointed with the outcome, the results of what you were expecting. I want to give you a great example of Mercury in retrograde. The Democratic Convention, I think it's in Chicago, is during Mercury in retrograde. So the whole convention was geared up to officially nominate Biden as the new, for the nomination for the second term. Well, he dropped out. And so now with Mercury in retrograde, everything they were expecting, everything they were planning, all the speeches, all that has to be revised, rethought, make all these adjustments and changes. So that's a classic example of having a major event during Mercury in retrograde. But sometimes it might seem like it was meant to be. On Monday, well, before I get into Monday, the 12th, if you enjoy these kinds of videos and would like to see more of them, click like and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can receive the latest postings. And if you go into the description box underneath the video, you'll find a direct link to book an astrology reading or check out my 2-question offer. All right, Monday, August the 12th, the moon is in brooding, private, secretive, intense Scorpio. The moon goes through all 12 signs every 27, 28 days. The moon goes through each sign for 2.5 days for each sign, and the moon sets the general public tone. So to start Monday the 12th, and Mercury's in retrograde, that moon in Scorpio can be often this brooding, introspective energies, but it's in a really stressful angle to the sun in Leo. Leo is a fire sign, Scorpio is a water sign. What happens when you mix water and fire? You get boiling water, or it steams, or when there's other favorable support to it, can trigger a lot of passion. But in general, when your emotional moon is in a difficult angle with the ego sun, it's really going to trigger often a lot of misunderstandings and Mercury's retrograde. As we go into Tuesday, the moon now shifts into outgoing, playful Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a fire sign, and it's going to be in harmony with the sun in Leo, a fire sign. So when the sun and the moon are in harmony, meaning they're in the same element of like fire, earth, air, and water, unless there's other mitigating factors, the day seems to flow more easily. And Sagittarius is very different from Scorpio. Scorpio can often be more introspective, private, secretive, whereas Sagittarius is really outgoing, adventurous, and playful. On Wednesday, the moon continues in Sagittarius, but here we go with Mars ambitious, assertive Mars, once every 2 years, aligns with Jupiter. So this Mars-Jupiter conjunction is in Gemini. So with Gemini, a lot of ideas, a lot of communications, a lot of restlessness with the Gemini. But Mars, when it's with Jupiter, you're feeling more optimistic to take bold actions. However, the next day, the Mars is going to be being blocked or squared by restricted Saturn. Keeping in mind, Mercury is retrograde. So whatever your expectations were with that Mars-Jupiter, you could have been like overexcited to really launch major new projects, getting excited about achieving your goals. Except expect the unexpected with Mercury in retrograde, and the next day, now assertive Mars is being blocked by contracting Saturn. So it could very well be that what you start getting excited about on Wednesday with Mars to Jupiter, you might be regretting it or backpedaling on Thursday with Mars to Saturn. And with that Mercury in retrograde, like with the Democratic Convention, a lot of us may have to rethink and reorganize our plans and expectations. Could be travel plans, job plans. But back to that Mars-Jupiter on Wednesday. It's giving you a confidence to take bold risks and launch new projects. But you don't want to launch any major new projects with Mercury and retrograde. So projects prior to August the 4th, before Mercury went retrograde, anything you might have been trying to achieve and accomplish, the Mars-Jupiter then, with Mercury in retrograde, could be when you are finally wrapping up and achieving those old goals. So it's good for breaking through and succeeding with previous projects, not starting new projects. And then whatever you were hoping and expecting for, and a lot of people aren't going to know about Mercury in retrograde, so they're going to be feeling this exuberance with Mars-Jupiter, and they're just going to go for it. And then the next day, Mercury slams up against restricted Saturn, and whatever they were excited about could hit a wall, or you may have to backtrack and pull back, and maybe, instead of what you were going after with your expectations of something large and happy and successful, now you need to maybe, pull it back a lot. Also on Thursday, the moon in the morning is still in outgoing Sagittarius. But at 10:52 a.m. Pacific time, the moon goes into sensible, practical Capricorn, conservative Capricorn. But you see, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and here's a restless, ambitious Mars slamming up against Saturn as the moon is in Capricorn at 10:52 a.m. Pacific time. So that moon in Capricorn can help you keep more grounded, more sensible, more organized, but you still may have to backpedal, or maybe you were having these big expectations with long-term goals. Like you were going to start a new project, let's say September the 1st. And you're making these plans during Mercury in retrograde, especially with the Mars-Jupiter. Then you may have to rethink and revise those plans, whether it's traveling, whether it's professional. Now, on Friday, as the moon continues in conventional, sensible, practical Capricorn, it's going to be in harmony with sociable Venus, creative Venus. And this is going to peak from 12 noon into early afternoon Pacific time. Moon to Venus, is a very sociable time, very pleasant, very creative time. Now, if you're in Europe, even if you're going in towards the east coast of the United States, that moon Venus, you may be getting ready to go out to dinner, organize a party, getting all your plans organized to have a good time. If you're on the Pacific coast, that moon Venus around noon, 1 p.m., you could having a wonderful lunch, a wonderful meeting, but you could also be calling up your friends and family and feeling really like very sociable. Let's have some fun, and calling up your network, your cohorts, and making plans for Friday night. And the moon by 6, 7 p.m. Pacific time, now the moon will be in harmony with Saturn. But moon in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, in harmony with Saturn, you're feeling really grounded, secure, good for wrapping up any kind of business dealings that have been working on prior to August the 4th. But it's also just the moon excellent with Capricorn. You're going to be more level-headed, more grounded. You're not going to go over the top with, spending too much money, overdoing it for the weekend. Saturday, the 17th, the moon in Capricorn, sensible Capricorn, will be in harmony, a trine, unconventional progressive Uranus, around mid-morning, 10, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Moon Uranus, you're starting to get emotionally, the moon, excited about new ideas, new adventures with the Uranus. One of the great things that moon Uranus can do is the moon can represent your habits, your patterns. And when it's in harmony with Uranus, you can liberate yourself and break through old stuck patterns. Or you can get really excited about new emotional opportunities. Just remember, Mercury's in retrograde. Maybe it's, nothing new, but maybe, dusting off something old and putting a fresh perspective to it. But the moon will leave conventional Capricorn and enter into, enter into unconventional Aquarius at 2:45 p.m. Pacific time. Aquarius is progressive, looks to the future. Capricorn is traditional, relied on the past. And Aquarius, moon in Aquarius, rules the collective, rules group activities, rules friendships. So it's where Friday evening could be really enjoying friends and family and entertainment, but it's more conventional, it's more sensible, it's more low-key. Saturday evening, with the moon in eclectic, liberating, sometimes rebellious Aquarius, it's going to be a lot more exciting, trying all new things, going to a party with people you don't know too well, or going to a restaurant or a show that you've never done before, trying something new. Mercury's in retrograde, expect the unexpected. And sometimes with Mercury in retrograde, it could end up being so much better than you were expecting. Maybe you were just doing it because you had nothing else to do and you were bored. And then it turns out that it was this great, exciting evening. Or the flip side is trying all something new, and it's like, this isn't happening. Sunday, the 18th. The first half of the day, where it's the strongest, Pacific time, Mercury, decision-making, communication Mercury will be squaring or hard angle to unexpected rebellious Uranus. And communication Mercury is retrograde, and here's communication Mercury in a hard angle with Uranus. So expect a lot of unexpected energies. So you could be hearing unexpected news and upsets with that Mercury-Uranus. But as anxious and stressful as that can trigger the first part of the day, Pacific time, as we get more to the middle of the day, pleasure-seeking Venus will be triggering expansive Jupiter. Now, it's in a square, it's tension, but these are the two great benefic planets in the chart. So the problem when Venus is in pleasurable Venus, sociable Venus, is in tension with expansive Jupiter, we can overindulge. We can spend too much money. We can eat and drink too much. But you're having a really good time. If you just realize with the Venus-Jupiter for Saturday evening, Saturday during the day into the evening, you could be overdoing it, having a great time, and waking up on Monday with a serious hangover, or realizing you just ate too many calories. But boy, were you having a good time. So I want to thank you for watching. You like information on how to book an astrology reading or check out my 2-question offer, visit my website at gardino.co, that's .co. Until next week, be safe and well.